I get suggestions from all over when it comes to what games to play and then feature on the channel. I appreciate all of them, especially when they come from viewers of the channel. One such game that was floated my way was Market Garden. I'm a huge fan of the Medal of Honor series. I've made many videos on those games. I love them, and they still play great today. I would want more of them if EA would actually do something useful with that license. But until then, we might see some luck in the form of indie titles helping to kind of step up and provide that to this audience. Something from the past. Well, I tried out Market Garden, and while the game is rather rough, it does in fact have some heart of those older shooters. But is that enough? Look, I'm not going to bury the lead when it comes to how I think about this title, and I wished Market Garden was better than what it was. I was very excited to try out this experience, a $5 game that looks to bring us back to the old days. Sign me up, I'm all for it. But where I was hoping to get eased into an introduction of a fun shooting experience, instead I was met with one that felt like it needed much more fine-tuning than what it had, especially with what I had played. It felt like an early access title, and not one that felt polished, but rather one that was very rough. I do not want to crap all over the developer either. You can see the heart is there, and if some things receive tweaking and fine-tuning, I think this would end up being a game I could recommend, but not in its current state. I do think it can get better, and get there. What needs fixing seems to be doable. Right now, this is just more of a rougher, frustrating shooter than anything else. To speak to my issues with the game is that I was not able to actually beat this game because of those issues that I was hitting. It was sort of a negative compounding effect. The longer I played, the more I just did not want to play this title. What honestly kept me going was how you could feel the heart of that developer that they put into this title. So what were the issues? Well, for starters, I started up the first level and right from the get-go, I got my crap pushed in. I was completely slaughtered. The enemies were way too aggressive. For what is the very first level and on normal. I could understand if this was hard, but what should have been a bit more of an ease into getting the player into the action at first. I felt like I was dropped into veteran on an older Call of Duty game. Now sure, I have spoken to the effect that I appreciate harder games, for sure, but it is all context. This is a title wanting to emulate those older games like Medal of Honor. Now there were harder parts in those, and they were challenging titles, and some not even offering those mid-mission checkpoints, but I never started a Medal of Honor game and was slaughtered right out of the gate. It was way too hard in that sense with Market Garden. Look, I will even go as far as to say that maybe I'm just not that good at this game, and some of this might be a skill issue. But even so, if you are going to have difficulty options, then normal should be rather fair and maybe start that way and then ramp up the challenge towards the end. Not start out with what feels like super hard mode. Now sure, the game is hard. I was getting killed at the first firefight for the first level, and I even knocked down the difficulty a bit to easy to see if I could just get through this thing. But as I played it more, I was hit with other issues, and these were other ones that were really hard to ignore. Market Garden definitely takes influences from Allied Assault, in some ways one of the worst things to lift from that game, the awful kickback that a player receives when being hit by enemy fire. Yes, it was bad in Allied Assault, but the shooting was so perfect and smooth out outside of that you could enjoy that game. Here in Market Garden, the kickback feels worse than Allied Assault, and like the game is trying to work against me from even letting me hit anything. I would poke out of cover and then get bombarded with enemy fire, and my gun kicking around like my player was being attacked by an army of bees. This made it seem like I could not even counterattack at all, and then layer on too how quickly you actually die on normal. Yes, out of the gate I was getting frustrated with this game, and I really didn't want to. I could understand having some level of kickback from being hit. Sure, other games have done that, but this feels like it was never play tested. It needs to be significantly toned down. There are some other issues that I felt like needed addressing too. The game does not feel balanced with its difficulty, and part of that is how medkits work. You need to hold down a button to use one. This feels like it takes forever, where it should be an instantaneous type of thing. I need to heal, hit a button, boom, use the medkit. That's how it should be done. In Market Garden, it feels like I'm in a survival horror game as I slowly use the medkit. I have died on many occasions from this. You looked back to other games that this title is trying to emulate, you would instantly heal. This Market Garden needs that effect too. I also did not like how you need to hold down the left stick to then run on a controller. It should just be a click. Whenever sprint is used like this, I feel like I'm gonna break my controller. Your character will not pick up ammo on their own, so if I'm holding say the MP40 and I run over the MP40, I will not automatically pick that up. I need to then look at the gun and then manually pick it up. This is extremely tedious and should also be tweaked too. Market Garden has issues and feels like a rough early access game. Market Garden, when I'm not being shot at and not having my gun kick around like my character is trying to dance and defeat the Germans at the same time, I am having fun shooting. Shooting generally feels pretty good, but the instance you get hit, then the game just starts crashing into being frustrating, as you are battling the game to even have any type of enjoyment here. Now sure, most of this video has me pointing out the issues with this title. I will say this, the silver lining is that I think many of these issues can be fixed. Nothing I mention here seems like impossible tasks for the developer to then refine and improve. How long it will take, I have no idea, but I will say that if the game is updated and improved upon, I will gladly play this title again and see how those improvements feel. I want indies to dabble in this territory more. We honestly need it, and many of us players are hungry for this type of stuff. So while I cannot recommend this title today, as it is far too rough for that, I will gladly give it a second chance if tweaks and improvements are made. I want it to be good, and I think it can get there. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you played Market Garden? What was your experience with it? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.